Fat Joe is facing one of the most painful moments of his life. The kind of heartbreak that redefines your world, shatters your routine, and forces you to look at everything from a new, raw perspective. The loss of a mother is like losing your internal compass. For the rapper born Joseph Antonio Cartagena, the passing of his beloved mother, Marie del-Carmen Cartagena, isn't just another headline or a fleeting moment on a timeline. It's the loss of the woman he called his everything, his world, his heart, and his foundation. Her absence is a wound that no accolade, award, or worldly success can ever heal. On a quiet Saturday, Fat Joe broke the devastating news to the world through a touching tribute shared on social media. Along with a series of intimate, personal photographs, many of them capturing candid, warm, and genuine moments with his mother, Joe poured his heart out, revealing a side of him that only those closest to him have truly known. In a moment that felt more like a whispered conversation between a son and his mother than a public announcement, he wrote, "This a real one, rest in peace to the woman who brought me in this world. She didn't have much, but she gave us everything." That single sentence, short yet saturated with meaning, tells you everything you need to know about Marie. She wasn't just a mother in the biological sense. She was a giver, a protector, a fighter, a nurturer, and a quiet but fierce presence in the lives of her family and community. She was the embodiment of sacrifice and unconditional love. In the hardest of times, when resources were scarce and struggles seemed endless, she still gave everything she had, and then some. To her children, she gave her time, her soul, her strength, and her wisdom. To her neighbors, she gave kindness, support, and solidarity. And to her husband, Ernesto, she gave a lifetime of loyalty, commitment, and companionship. Joe reflected deeply on the type of woman his mother was, the kind of woman who, even after her son had achieved massive success and earned financial freedom, chose to remain grounded in the place where it all began, the housing projects of the Bronx. Not because she didn't have the opportunity to move, but because she didn't want to. Her love for her neighbors, her connection to the community, her sense of purpose among those she'd grown with and helped, those roots ran too deep to abandon. It's a choice that speaks volumes about her character and values. She believed in authenticity, in staying true to where you came from, and in never forgetting those who were there during the hardest moments of your journey. For Joe, this wasn't just about losing a family member, it was losing a life force. In his words, she died of a broken heart, a heartbreaking admission that echoes through the silence left behind. Her passing came just months after the death of her husband, Ernesto, in February. Two had spent a lifetime together, and their bond was one of those quiet, enduring types of love that doesn't make headlines but stands as the foundation of generations. Joe wrote, "My dad wanted her with him. I tried everything humanly possible." You can feel the pain behind those words, the helplessness that even success and resources couldn't change the inevitable course of life. As he shared his grief, Fat Joe made a powerful promise. "Mommy, till I see you again, you are my world, my heart, my everything. I'll continue to make you proud." And if you know anything about Joe, you know that this isn't just a platitude. It's a vow etched into the soul of a man who has always worn his heart on his sleeve when it comes to family. Marie's influence wasn't limited to her household, it extended into the very fabric of Joe's life, music, and message. She was the light behind the scenes, the voice in his head, the anchor when life tried to drift him away. This wasn't the first time Joe had opened up about the special relationship he shared with his mother. In fact, it's been a recurring theme throughout his life. Back in January, he publicly celebrated her birthday with all the love and adoration you'd expect from a devoted son. He called himself a mama's boy, not with embarrassment or irony, but with absolute pride. In a world that often tries to define manhood in rigid terms, Joe has always been unafraid to show where his strength truly came from. And he's never shied away from giving credit where credit is due. She wasn't just a loving mother, she was a warrior. A woman who had faced cancer and fought it head-on. A woman who stood by her son through the darkest and brightest chapters of his life. Whether it was the early days of struggle, when the odds seemed stacked against them, or the years of fame, controversy, growth, and evolution, Marie never wavered. She was a constant presence, a moral compass, a support system, a sanctuary in human form. Her love wasn't performative, it was real, unwavering, and deeply rooted in faith, loyalty, and truth. What makes this loss even more heartbreaking is the timing. Losing both parents within months is a kind of pain that's hard to describe unless you've lived it. It's a shift in identity, a sudden confrontation with mortality, and a jarring realization that the people who once shielded you from the storms of life are no longer there to do so. For someone as deeply family-oriented as Fat Joe, this isn't just the end of an era, it's the collapse of a world he built his entire foundation on. And yet, through the tears and the sorrow, what remains is legacy. Marie del Carmen Cartagena may no longer walk this earth, but she lives on in every beat of her son's heart, in every lyric he pens with emotion, in every gesture of kindness he extends to others, and in every lesson he passes down to his children. That's the kind of legacy that transcends death. It becomes eternal. She lives on in the stories Joe will continue to tell, in the strength he will draw from her example, and in the way he loves and protects his own family. In many of his past interviews, Joe has talked about growing up in the South Bronx and the trials that came with it. But he's also been very clear about the fact that it was his mother who gave him the courage to survive it all. When times were hard, she reminded him who he was. When he wanted to give up, she reminded him why he couldn't. When the streets offered danger and distraction, she offered wisdom and hope. That kind of influence doesn't fade with time, it becomes part of your DNA. Even in her final months, Joe's mother continued to be a pillar of quiet strength. Those who knew her spoke of her kindness, her laughter, her ability to light up a room with just her presence. She wasn't a celebrity, but she was the center of her family's universe. Her passing doesn't just leave a hole in their lives, it leaves a silence that echoes in the spaces where her voice used to be, in the warmth that only a mother can give, in the comfort that can never truly be replaced. Joe's grief, raw and unfiltered, resonated with fans across the world who have followed his journey for decades. He's never been afraid to show vulnerability, and in this moment of loss, he became a mirror for so many others who felt the same pain. The messages of support poured in not just because of who he is, but because of the way he made us all feel like we knew her too. Through his words, through his heartbreak, we got a glimpse of the woman who shaped one of hip-hop's most enduring voices. And so, as Joe continues to navigate this chapter of his life, he carries not just the weight of sorrow but the torch of remembrance. He will continue to share her story, not just in words but in action. In the way he mentors young artists, in the way he speaks about community, in the way he never forgets where he came from. That's what Marie taught him. That's what mothers like her give to the world, a legacy not written in headlines but etched into the hearts of those they loved. Rest in peace, Marie del Carmen Cartagena. You were more than a mother, you were a force of nature, a soul made of courage and compassion. And through your son, your spirit lives on,